Now, Harold was asked to be in charge of one of these group study exchanges, which was going to be with Denmark. Now, they got five young professional and businessmen, and Harold had retired. It was the year that Harold retired. That Harold was retiring. So I was still working 1 year after that, and he thought, "Oh, I can't leave you for those weeks." It was 8 weeks at that time. They made it a shorter time now. They haven't. It isn't that big, but it was 8 weeks. He said, "Oh, I can't leave you for 8 weeks." I said, "You'll never get another chance to do something like this, to go over." And they would live with families over there who were taking part in this project. Uh, so they would split them up into five different houses. So he would stay, like Harold would stay in one house, and each of these other men would stay in a house of these Danish people who were Rotarians over there. Now, when those people came to this country, then we would put them up in our houses for a week. Like I had a Danish man, very nice, that I still hear from his wife uh, after all these years. Um, but that was the way the exchange was. They weren't to be put up like in a hotel or something. They wanted them to see how the average person lived. So when Harold was over there in Denmark, he stayed with eight different families because he was there for 8 weeks. And then those from that country, when they sent them over here, we each kept like one person for a week. So I had a Danish man with me for that week. He left here. Oh, see, the five men that he went with, I mean, they were grown up, even though I said they were young. One was a lawyer, one was a policeman, one was a teacher. Now, what were the other two? See, I told you I wasn't quite prepared for this today. Uh, they had to be non-Rotarians, so it would just be a scattering of people, uh, not as I said, these were professionals, but then there were also two other business people. I can't think what they were now, um, and they everything was planned with the country that they were going to. And the different cities or towns or what, they would spend 1 week at each of these various towns or cities or whatever it was that they were exchanging with. Now, like Sayville was exchanging with, uh, well, the United States was changing, but Sayville had 1 week of that where they would live in this country with people, ordinary people, so they'd get to know what it was like living in a foreign country, not planned ahead like that, but they would be living the way would be in the country. Now, when they were here, when they were in the United States, uh, they were here for 8 weeks in the United States, not always in Sayville. Sayville had 1 week of it. Then, so Denmark then hosted 8 weeks of this team that was going over there in eight different cities or towns or whatever. So it was really what they got to see so many things. Uh, they would the country that they were going to, the city or the town that they were assigned to for that time, they made up the schedule of what they would see in that particular area. So it was a very interesting, and this went on for many years. They've changed it somehow. They don't quite do that anymore. They have something different that they do now. I don't know exactly what it is because I'm not involved anymore. Yeah, it was great. But then they did this exchange that went on. It wasn't only to Denmark. And then another year, it would be another country. It might be Brazil, say. So the five members plus the leader would come here from Brazil. They were all Brazilians, I guess that's what you call them. Uh, and then from our country, they would go to Brazil for that same length of time, but not the same weeks. But it was sometime. It was a very interesting program. Well, whenever they had other countries, and our country was one of them, and our particular district here, I'd always volunteer to keep somebody for a week. It was fun. I had some, I had someone from Australia for a week. I had someone from Chile for a week. It was very interesting. It was wonderful for Harold because he learned so much and did so much while he was in Denmark. He learned a lot about Denmark. Before he went, he didn't really know anything about Denmark. You know, but then they had meetings and so forth with the group to try to know as much as they could and to try to know a little bit of the language. It was not that he learned to speak it, but he knew words and so forth that he could use. And most people in these foreign countries will know English. We made well while the one was here, while the man stayed here with us, we got to be very good friends with him. And later on, a number of years later, he came over with his wife, and they stayed with us for a little time too. So So, so we got to know. We could have gone over there. We could have gone to any of these people. They would have welcomed us with open arms. So, they'd go like to courts. They'd go to different industries over there. Uh, uh, anything that the country thought was interesting for them to see, they would set up a program for the group coming. The same as when a group came here to the United States, wherever they were here, uh, that country would make up the itinerary and thing that they had to see here. It was very, and it was a lot of work to it. After Harold was there, that was an 8-week program. They cut it in half, I think. It was a 4-week program after that. The country thought it was a little too long.